permafrost engineering a field that goes far beyond just studying frozen ground. In Canada's vast north, engineers are pioneering cryo-technologies to tackle melting permafrost. Could you clarify what sets permafrost engineering apart from traditional geotechnical work?
Certainly. While geocryology focuses on the science of frozen soils, permafrost engineering merges that knowledge with hands-on solutions. It's about inventing, adapting, and applying cold-driven technologies to build and maintain infrastructure, where thawing ground threatens everything from homes to highways.
That's a fascinating distinction. As we explore, let's consider the scale of the challenge. How much of Canada is actually underlain by permafrost? And why is it so critical now?
Over 40% of Canada's landmass sits on permafrost, particularly across northern territories like Yukon, Nunavut, and the Northwest Territories. With climate change accelerating thaw, the stability of buildings, roads, and entire communities is at risk, necessitating urgent, innovative engineering responses.
Transitioning from the where to the why, let's unpack how permafrost forms and why it's so uniquely vulnerable. Can you break down the science for our listeners?
Permafrost is ground that remains frozen for at least 2 consecutive years. It's like a natural deep freeze, but when surface temperatures rise, ice within the soil melts, causing the ground to soften or even collapse. This undermines anything built above it.
So, climate change is acting like a giant defrost button. Are there specific statistics showing the rate of permafrost thaw in Canada?
Absolutely. The Canadian government reports that ground temperatures in the Western Arctic have risen by up to 2°C since the 1970s. In some regions, permafrost is degrading 3-5 times faster than historical averages, a pace that puts infrastructure at unprecedented risk.
Given this rapid thaw, what are the practical engineering challenges? I imagine constructing a highway or airport runway on shifting ground isn't straightforward.
You're right, traditional foundations can buckle as ice-rich soils melt. Roads like the Dempster Highway have faced costly repairs due to subsidence. Imagine building a house on a melting block of ice without intervention. Cracks, tilting, or collapse are inevitable.
That analogy really puts the risk into perspective. Are there cases where entire communities are threatened?
Indeed. In Nunavut and parts of the Yukon, Indigenous communities face the prospect of relocating as permafrost thaws beneath homes, schools, and essential infrastructure, making engineering solutions both urgent and deeply personal.
Let's dive into solutions. Thermal stabilization seems central. How do technologies like thermopiles and ventilated embankments actually work in practice?
Thermal piles, or thermopiles, are steel columns drilled deep into the ground, equipped with passive heat exchangers called Thermosyphons. These devices draw heat away from the soil, keeping it frozen beneath buildings, even as air temperatures rise.
And what about ventilated embankments? Do they prevent roads from sinking?
They use layers of crushed rock or air channels to promote cold air circulation at the base of roads or runways. This acts like a natural refrigerator, slowing permafrost thaw beneath critical infrastructure. A technique especially vital for long, remote stretches like the Inuvik-Tuktoyaktuk Highway.
After stabilizing the ground, monitoring is crucial. What kind of sensor technologies are engineers deploying to track permafrost conditions in real time?
Engineers use networks of temperature, humidity, and deformation sensors embedded in the ground and structures. These systems transmit live data to alert teams to subsidence or unexpected warming, almost like a health monitor for infrastructure.
That sounds high-tech. Can you share an example of how this real-time data has prevented disaster?
Sure. On the Diavik Diamond Mine Road, sensors detected early signs of ground movement, allowing crews to reinforce embankments before a full collapse occurred, saving millions in potential repairs and keeping supply lines open.
Beyond the ground, the cold itself poses challenges. How are materials and construction methods adapted to function reliably at such low temperatures?
Concrete, steel, and insulation must all be specially formulated. For example, additives prevent concrete from becoming brittle at 40°C. Crews often work in short shifts with heated tents. Imagine pouring a foundation while battling blizzards and 20-hour nights.
That's extreme. Are there unique strategies for remote locations where repairs are nearly impossible in winter?
Absolutely. Prefabricated components, modular designs, and redundant systems are favored. Engineers design for fail-safe performance, knowing that even minor breakdowns can be catastrophic when help is hundreds of miles away.
Let's shift to the human impact. How do these engineering choices affect Indigenous communities and northern industries operating on permafrost?
For Indigenous peoples, infrastructure failures can mean loss of homes, culture, and connection to the land. Meanwhile, mining and oil operations like those near Ekatile on roads and facilities that must remain safe year-round, driving investment in resilient cryo-technologies.
Are there efforts to involve local communities in engineering decisions?
Increasingly, yes. Collaborative design and knowledge sharing honor traditional expertise while ensuring that solutions are culturally appropriate and sustainable key for long-term success in the North.
On the research front, Canada boasts several world-leading centres. Could you highlight where the most innovative permafrost engineering work is happening?
The University of Alberta is a powerhouse in frozen soil engineering, while Laval University's Centre for Northern Studies leads in pavement design. The Canadian High Arctic Research Station in Cambridge Bay is a hub for field trials. Think of it as the space station of permafrost science.
That's an apt comparison. How do these centres collaborate with industry and government?
They partner on real-world projects, from airport construction to pipeline stabilization, often publishing their findings in journals like the Canadian Geotechnical Journal or at national conferences, making knowledge accessible to practitioners across the Arctic.
Let's spotlight the experts driving this field. Who are some of the most influential figures in Canadian permafrost engineering today?
Dr. Tony Hines at the University of Alberta is a foundational figure, while Dr. Guy Doré of Laval is renowned for pioneering pavement guidelines. Dr. Chris Byrne studies long-term permafrost change, and Dr. Sean Carey explores hydrology's role in ground stability.
And what about practitioners on the ground? Are there notable organizations leading engineering projects?
Absolutely. Arctic Foundations of Canada is a leader in thermal pile technology, while firms like Golder Associates and AECOM are deeply involved in designing and maintaining infrastructure from Whitehorse to Yellowknife.
For those eager to dive deeper, what resources or literature would you recommend to aspiring permafrost engineers or interested listeners?
Geotechnical Engineering for Cold Regions is a classic, and the Northern Infrastructure Standardization Series provides practical design guides. Proceedings from the Canadian Permafrost Conference and journals like Cold Regions Science and Technology are goldmines for up-to-date findings.
It's great that such comprehensive resources are available. How important is continual learning in this evolving field?
It's absolutely vital. As climate and technology shift rapidly, ongoing education ensures that engineers are prepared to innovate and protect Canada's North today and for generations to come.
As we wrap up, what personal growth lessons can listeners draw from the resilience required to engineer in the North?
Permafrost engineering teaches adaptability. Conditions change fast, demanding continuous learning and creative problem solving. It's about perseverance, teamwork, and respecting both scientific rigor and local wisdom qualities valuable in any field or life challenge.
That's truly inspiring. For those facing their own melting ground metaphorically or literally, what parting advice would you offer?
Embrace change as an opportunity to innovate, seek out diverse perspectives, and never underestimate the power of preparation. Whether building on permafrost or facing life's uncertainties, resilience and ingenuity pave the path to lasting success.